The sky was dark with heavy clouds, and cold wind rushed through the tall buildings of Neo-Toronto. Rain had started falling slowly, tapping against metal roofs and the smooth roads. Tom, a 16-year-old boy, walked along the old sky bridge that connected the lower part of the city to the upper zone. He wore a thin jacket, and his shoes were full of holes, but he didn't complain. He had just finished his part-time shift at the scrapyard and was walking home. The sky bridge was quiet at this hour. Most people used air cars or fast tubes to travel, but Tom couldn't afford those. He walked every day, no matter the weather. As he reached the middle of the bridge, he saw something unusual. A shiny silver hovercar stood still, its lights blinking. One of its anti-grav wheels was flat and tilted. Smoke came from the side engine. A tall woman stood beside the car, speaking to a small round drone. The drone buzzed and blinked red, clearly not working right. Tom slowed down, looking at the car, then at the woman. She wore a long black coat and had shiny boots. Her hair was tied back neatly. She looked like someone from the rich zones. He could just walk past people like her, never noticed people like him. But something about her worried face made him stop. "Excuse me, miss," Tom said. "Do you need help?" The woman turned. Her name was Mira, and she was one of the richest women in the city, though Tom didn't know that yet. At first, she looked surprised to see him. Then she nodded. "My assistant drone isn't responding, and I can't contact the tow service from this spot," she said. "It's blocking signals." Tom walked closer. The drone was spinning slowly and making soft clicking sounds. He crouched and tapped its side gently. Then he pulled a small tool from his bag, a screwdriver with different heads, something he had made himself from old parts. "This drone's control chip is overheating," Tom said. "I can fix it." "You can?" Mira asked, raising an eyebrow. Tom didn't answer. He opened a small panel under the drone and adjusted 2 wires. The blinking red light turned green. The drone made a happy beep and hovered upright. "There," Tom said. "Now it'll work again." Mira was impressed. "That was fast, thank you." Tom gave a small smile, then looked at the flat wheel. "I think your hover balance module is cracked. I've seen this in scrap units. If you have a spare one, I can switch it." She nodded and opened the car's side panel. Inside was a backup module. Tom took it, lay on the wet bridge floor, and began working. The rain fell harder, but he didn't stop. Within 10 minutes, he stood up, wiping his hands on his jacket. "It should hover again now. Just go slow." Mira stepped into the hover car. She tapped the controls. The car lifted smoothly off the ground, steady and balanced. "It's working," she said. "You're amazing." Tom smiled shyly. "Glad I could help." "Wait, what's your name?" Mira asked. But Tom had already started walking away. "It's okay, miss. I'm just happy you're safe. Have a good night." Mira watched him disappear into the rain, down the bridge, toward the lower city. She sat in the car, thinking. Most people wouldn't have stopped. And this boy who looked poor and tired had fixed things in minutes that even her drone couldn't handle. She tapped her wrist screen and spoke. "Scan the last 10 minutes of bridge footage. Find out who that boy is." Meanwhile, Tom reached his small home in the worker zone. It was a tiny flat shared with his mother. She was sick and rested on a thin mattress. Tom gently placed his jacket to dry and sat beside her. "You're late," she said softly. "I stopped to help someone," Tom replied. His mother smiled weakly. "You always help others, even when we have nothing." Tom looked out the window at the flashing lights of the upper city. Maybe one day ... things will change. Little did he know that night on the bridge had already started to change. The next morning, the sun peeked through the thick clouds of Neo-Toronto. The rain had stopped, but the streets were still wet. Tom woke up early as always. His small room was cold, and the roof had started to leak again. He checked on his mother, who was still asleep. Then he quickly ate a piece of bread, grabbed his old toolkit, and got ready to go to the scrapyard for another long day. But before he could open the door, someone knocked. Tom froze. No one ever visited them. He slowly opened the door and saw a sleek silver vehicle parked outside. A tall man in a black suit stood in front of it. He looked like someone from a high-tech office tower. Behind him, the car's doors opened upward like wings. "Are you Tom?" the man asked politely. Tom hesitated. "Yes, why?" The man smiled. "I work for Miss Myra Arlen. She would like to see you. She asked me to bring you safely to her tower." Tom blinked. "Myra? The lady from the bridge?" "Yes," the man said. "She was very impressed by your help last night. She wants to thank you properly." Tom looked back at his mother, then again at the shiny car. It felt strange, like something from a dream. I need to ask my mom," he said. The man nodded. "Of course." Tom stepped inside and told his mother everything. She was surprised, but she gently touched his shoulder and smiled. "You helped someone in need. Now she wants to help you back. Go, Tom, you deserve something good." Tom nodded slowly, still unsure, but he trusted his mother's words. The ride to Myra's tower was like flying through a different world. Tom looked out the window and saw the city change as they rose higher and higher. The buildings were taller, cleaner, and covered in lights. The people wore bright clothes and rode smooth hoverboards. Drones flew beside them like birds. Everything felt fast and futuristic, so different from the broken roads and dull colors of Tom's neighborhood. Soon, the car stopped at the top of a glass building shaped like a crystal. A voice welcomed him. "Welcome to Arlen Tech Tower." The man in the suit guided Tom through shiny halls with silver walls and glowing blue lights. Finally, they reached a tall glass office. Inside stood Myra, wearing a white coat and a calm smile. "Tom," she said warmly, "I'm so glad you came." Tom lowered his eyes, unsure what to say. I didn't think you'd remember me." Myra walked toward him. "How could I forget? You fixed a drone and a hovercar in the rain with only a few tools. My own machines couldn't do what you did." Tom shrugged. "I just know how machines work. My dad taught me before he disappeared." Myra nodded slowly. "You have real talent, Tom. You see things most people miss. And that's why I brought you here." She pressed a button, and a large screen lit up behind her. It showed a modern academy, filled with labs, workshops, and learning rooms. "This is Arlen Academy for Young Innovators," Myra said. "It's my personal school. Only the best students from around the world are invited. I want you to join." Tom's mouth opened in shock. "Me? But I'm not rich. I'm not trained. I've never even been inside a real lab." Myra smiled gently. "I don't care where you're from. What matters is what's inside your mind and your heart. You've already shown more skill and kindness than most of my top engineers." Tom's heart beat fast. He looked at the screen, then at Myra. "Is it free?" he asked. "Yes," Myra said. "Full scholarship. Room, meals, tools, everything. I'll even arrange care for your mother while you study." Tom couldn't believe it. It felt like a dream, but doubt started to grow. What if I don't fit in? The other students, they'll all be smarter, richer. I don't belong there. Myra sat beside him. "Listen, Tom, belonging isn't about where you come from. It's about where you're going. You belong wherever you choose to grow. If you want this chance, it's yours." Tom thought about his small room, the leaking roof, his tired mother. He thought about how many nights he had fixed broken radios just to buy food, and now someone believed in him. Someone wanted to give him a real future. He looked up, his eyes steady. "I want to try." Myra smiled wide. "Good. Your new journey begins tomorrow." Later that night, Tom returned home. with a small bag of supplies, a tablet from Mira, and a heart full of hope. His mother listened as he told her everything. She held his hand with tears in her eyes. "I'm proud of you, Tom," she whispered. "This is your moment. Don't be afraid to rise." Tom looked out the window. The stars were hidden behind clouds, but he felt like one had started shining just for him. He didn't know it yet, but his life was about to change forever. The next morning, Tom stood in front of the grand gates of Arlen Academy for Young Innovators. His hands were shaking a little, and his backpack felt too small compared to the other students' shiny bags and suitcases. The academy looked like a space station, tall glass towers, floating walkways, and drones flying above the campus. Tom took a deep breath and stepped through the gates. Inside, everything looked clean, bright, and new. Robots served breakfast in the dining hall. Walls changed colors as students walked by. Every student wore a smart uniform, and most looked confident, chatting in groups like they had always belonged there. Tom, in his old shoes and plain clothes, felt like a shadow. He was led to his room, a small but beautiful space with soft lights, a smart bed, and a tablet full of lessons. Still, he sat quietly on the edge of the bed, wondering if he had made a mistake. In the afternoon, classes started. Tom entered the tech lab, where a teacher named Mr. Finley introduced the week's challenge. "You will each design a working robot arm using only the materials provided," Mr. Finley said. "The arm should be able to lift a small object. This is not just about looks, it must work." Tom looked around. Students grabbed parts quickly. Some had already designed plans on their digital tablets. A few students glanced at Tom and whispered, laughing behind their hands. He ignored them instead of using the fancy tools. Tom picked the older parts that others had left behind. They reminded him of the junk he used back in the scrapyard. He sat alone and drew the design with a pencil, just like he used to do at home. He worked quietly, his hands moving fast. By the end of the class, his robot arm wasn't pretty, but it was strong and it moved perfectly. It lifted the test object with ease. That evening, Mira came to visit the lab. She walked around, looking at each student's design. Some had built beautiful-looking arms that didn't move well. Others had fast arms that broke easily. Then she saw Tom's robot. "This one works very well," Mira said, watching it move. "Who built it?" Tom stepped forward, unsure of her reaction. "I did," he said quietly. Mira smiled. "Very smart use of balance and pressure sensors. And these wires, are you using recycled fuses?" Tom nodded. "They're more stable. In short circuits, I tested them a lot back at home." Mr. Finley watched closely. "I must say, Tom, your design is very clever. Most students went for style, you went for function. But not everyone was happy." A student named Kyle, who came from one of the richest tech families, narrowed his eyes at Tom. "That thing looks like trash," Kyle said loudly. "This is a top academy, not a junk shop." Tom felt a sting in his chest, but Mira answered for him. "Sometimes, the best tools come from the humblest hands," she said firmly. Kyle turned away, annoyed. Later that night, Tom sat on the academy balcony, looking out at the glowing city lights. He felt proud but also confused. Why had Mira chosen him? And why did she care so much about a boy from the lower zones? Suddenly, he remembered something, an old sketchbook his father had left behind. It was filled with drawings and designs for strange machines. One of those designs looked like the energy wires he had used today. He opened the tablet Mira had given him. Using its search tool, he scanned one of the sketches. A result popped up, locked behind a password. The screen read, "Project Helios, Classified Archive, Arlen Tech Server." Tom stared at it. Why was his father's sketch connected to Mira's company? He decided not to tell anyone yet. The next day, Tom was called into Mira's office again. She stood near a window, looking out over the city. "Tom, you did well in the challenge," she said. But I noticed something in your design that surprised me. Tom waited silently. Your energy setup, she continued. It's based on a rare technique, one that hasn't been used since a project called Helios was shut down 10 years ago. Tom looked up. My dad used to talk about something like that. He was working on clean energy, then he disappeared. Mira turned, her face serious. I knew your father, Tom. He worked with one of our early teams. He was a genius, but someone tried to stop his research. One day, there was a lab explosion, and he was gone. Tom felt his heart drop. So it wasn't an accident? I don't think so, Mira said. But I couldn't prove anything. Now seeing your work, I believe his knowledge lives on in you. Tom's hands trembled. I just built what made sense. I didn't know it was special. It is, Mira said. And I think someone out there may still want that knowledge for the wrong reasons. Tom didn't know what to say. He looked out the window. Everything was changing so fast. Why me? He finally asked. Why give me this chance? Mira smiled softly. Because you remind me of him. And because the world needs more people who build with heart, not just with money. Days passed quickly at Arlen Academy, but Tom's mind was not calm. He still worked hard in his classes, and his teachers were impressed. But late at night, when the lights were dim and the city outside was quiet, he would sit with his father's old sketchbook, staring at the strange symbols and designs inside. He couldn't stop thinking about Project Helios, the locked file he had seen on the company's network. Something deep inside told him that his father's disappearance and Mira's company were connected. One evening, Mira called Tom to her office again. This time, she didn't smile. I need to show you something, she said. She touched a screen. And the room darkened. A large hologram appeared in front of them, showing an old photo of a lab. In the center was a man with kind eyes and short hair, wearing a lab coat. Tom stared in silence. That's my father, he whispered. Mira nodded. Yes, his name was Leo, and he worked for me 10 years ago. He wasn't just a technician. He was the lead scientist on Project Helios, a plan to create unlimited clean energy using a rare mineral called selenite. Tom listened carefully as Mira continued. Selenite is very powerful, she explained. Just a small amount can power an entire city. Your father found a way to control it safely. But before he could finish the work, there was an explosion. The lab was destroyed. We thought Leo had died, but no body was found. Tom's heart beat faster. So you think he's still alive? I don't know, Mira said. But I do know this. Someone wanted that project to fail. The explosion was not an accident. It was sabotage. Tom clenched his fists. Who did it? Mira turned the screen again. This time, a logo appeared, a sharp silver N inside. A red circle. Below it were the words, NovaCorp Technologies. NovaCorp is a rival tech company, Mira said. They are powerful, secretive, and greedy. They tried to steal Project Helios before. I believe they caused the explosion to stop your father and steal his work. Tom felt anger rising inside him. They destroyed his life, and now they might come after me too. Mira nodded slowly. That's why I've kept this secret. But your robot arm used the same design as your father's early Helios prototype. NovaCorp has spies everywhere. If they find out what you've done, they'll come. Tom took a deep breath. He had never wanted to be part of a war between big companies. But this wasn't just about business. This was about his father. About stopping people who only wanted power. What do we do now? He asked. Mira looked at him with calm eyes. You're not alone. I still have people I trust. But you need to be careful. No more public tests. No more showing your designs online. We'll continue your training. But in private. And together, we'll find out what really happened to your father. The next day, Tom was taken to a hidden lab beneath Arlen Tech Tower. It was quiet, full of old tools and locked doors. Only a few trusted engineers were allowed inside. There, Tom began studying Helios designs with Myra's help. The more he learned, the more he realized his father had been far ahead of his time. The energy source he created wasn't just clean, it was limitless, and it could fit in something as small as a suitcase. Tom started rebuilding the Helios core from his father's notes. Every time he adjusted the wires or recalculated the energy flow, he felt like he was connecting with his father again. Like Leo was guiding his hands, but trouble wasn't far behind. Across the city, inside a tall black tower, NovaCorp's leaders were watching. In a dark meeting room, a man in a silver suit named Mr. Voss stared at a screen showing Tom's face. "His name is Tom. He's the son of Leo," a spy reported. "He's working with Myra Arlen. They're rebuilding Helios." Mr. Voss narrowed his eyes. "We should have destroyed every trace. We won't make that mistake again. What shall we do?" the spy asked. "First, we try to buy him," Voss said coldly. "If that fails, we remove him." Back at the academy, Tom was walking through the garden alone when a stranger approached. He wore a clean suit and a kind smile. "Tom, isn't it?" the man asked. Tom stopped. "Yes? I'm with NovaCorp. We've been watching your work. You have great talent." Tom took a step back. "What do you want?" "A simple offer," the man said. "Join us. We'll give you the best lab, full freedom, anything you want. No school, no rules. You can finish your father's work with our support." Tom shook his head. "You destroyed my father's life. I'd never work for you." The man's smile faded. "That's a shame. You're making the wrong choice." He walked away, but his words left a chill in the air. That night, Tom told Myra everything. "They're coming," he said. "They offered me everything. When I refused, he looked dangerous." Myra nodded. "I'll increase security. But we must work fast. If NovaCorp launches their own version of Helios first, they'll control the world's energy. We need to finish your father's design before they do and share it with the world." Tom looked at the glowing model of the Helios core. "I'll finish what my father started," he said. "Not for money, not for power, but to help people like my mom who live in the dark while the rich light up the skies." The city of Neo-Toronto looked peaceful from above. Lights blinked in patterns, cars floated across sky roads, and digital billboards flashed with bright ads. But under this calm surface, a storm was growing. Tom, once a poor boy from the lower zone, was now at the center of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. In the secret underground lab of Arlentech, Tom worked late into the night with Myra and her trusted team. He had rebuilt over 70% of his father's Helios core design. The machine was small, about the size of a backpack, but powerful. If completed, it could create clean energy from a single crystal of selenite, enough to power a city block for a week. But there was a problem. The last part of the design, a unique stabilizer, was missing. Tom believed his father had kept it hidden, possibly outside the lab, away from spies like those from NovaCorp. "Without the stabilizer," Tom said, one night, pointing at the core's heart, "this whole system could overheat. We need that missing part." Myra looked serious. "Then we need to find it before NovaCorp finds us." 2 days later, a special package arrived at the academy. Inside was a small black box with a blinking red light and a voice chip. Tom and Myra opened it together. A robotic voice played. "This is your last warning. Give us the Helios files, or face the same end as Leo." Tom froze. "They know my father's name." Myra's eyes narrowed. "They're watching us closely now. They're not just threatening, they're preparing to attack." Tom was angry, but also calm. "Let them try. We'll finish the core before they do." Myra nodded. "But we'll need a plan and help." That night, Myra called a secret meeting with 3 trusted allies: Dr. Ray, a quiet tech historian; Amar, a former security officer; and Talia, a young coder who had once worked inside NovaCorp, but escaped when she learned their secrets. Tom stood in front of them and explained everything: his father's designs, the missing stabilizer, the progress of the new core, and NovaCorp's threats. Dr. Ray spoke first. Your father once said he kept his most important data hidden in plain sight. In plain sight? Tom asked. Where? Ray thought for a moment. He loved puzzles. If I were him, I'd hide something in a place no one would look like. A public museum, or even an old storage unit. Tom's eyes lit up. He had an old toolbox at the scrapyard. It's still there. I left it behind when I came here. Mira stood quickly. We'll send someone to get it. No, Tom said. I have to go myself. If it's what I think it is, I'll know how to find it. The next morning, Mira sent Tom, Amar, and Talia to the lower zone in a quiet hovervan. They dressed in regular clothes to avoid attention. The city below was as dusty and crowded as Tom remembered. When they reached the scrapyard, Tom ran straight to the old shed behind the metal piles. Inside, in the corner, was the rusted toolbox. He opened it slowly. Sitting on top were a few broken wrenches, some screws, and a folded cloth. Inside the cloth was a small flat disc made of glass and copper. On it, a tiny inscription read, "Balance is the key." Tom smiled. This is it, the stabilizer. Suddenly, Amar raised his hand. We're not alone. From outside, black vehicles rolled in fast. Men in gray suits with NovaCorp symbols stepped out, armed with electric rods and stun gear. Run! Talia shouted. They jumped over metal piles, dodging blasts of blue light. Tom clutched the disc tightly. A stun shot hit the ground beside him, throwing sparks in the air. This way! Amar yelled, guiding them toward the back gate. They barely made it. The van was parked nearby, hidden between old machines. They jumped in, and Talia pressed the controls. The van flew into the sky, fast and low, dodging traffic and vanishing into the clouds. Back at Arlentech, Mira rushed to the lab as the team arrived. You got it? She asked. Tom held up the stabilizer. We did. Without wasting time, Tom inserted the disc into the core's center. A soft hum began. The lights on the device turned green. The energy inside started flowing smoothly. It's stable, Tom said. It's working, Myra smiled. Your father would be proud. But their victory didn't last long. Later that evening, Arlentech's main servers were attacked. Alarms rang through the tower. Mira and her team ran to the control room, where giant screens flashed with red warnings. It's a full cyber attack, Talia said, typing fast. NovaCorp is trying to steal our files. Mira ordered a full lockdown. Cut the main server link. Go offline. Talia did it just in time. The screens went dark. Tom stood beside the glowing Helios core, now sitting quietly inside a clear case. They'll never stop, he said. As long as they think this core is hidden here, they'll keep coming. Mira nodded slowly. Then we change the game. What do you mean? Tom asked. We don't hide it, she said. We show it to the world. Let everyone see it. Let the people know it's real, and that it belongs to everyone, not to one company. Tom's eyes widened. The World Science Expo is in 2 weeks. We could reveal it there. Mira smiled. Exactly. And so the plan was set. In 2 weeks, Tom would stand on the world stage, not just as a poor boy or a student, but as the son of a forgotten genius and the builder of a device that could change the future. But NovaCorp was not finished. In the dark towers of their base, Mr. Voss watched the screen and gave a cold order. If they bring the core to the EXPO, destroy it. And destroy him. The days leading up to the World Science Expo moved quickly. Inside the secret lab at Arlentech, Tom and his team worked day and night to prepare the Helios core for public demonstration. The machine was now stable, powerful, and silent ready to show the world a new future. Mira watched over the work closely. She knew this moment could change everything for Tom, for her company, and for the entire planet. But deep in her heart, she also feared what NovaCorp might do to stop them. One evening, while checking the final systems, Tom looked up from the Helios core. "Myra," he said, "I've added a backup shield system. If someone tries to hack or overload it, the core will shut down on its own." "Smart idea," Myra replied. "We'll need all the protection we can get." Far away, in a cold steel tower, Mr. Voss of NovaCorp stared at a 3D map of the expo hall. His assistant pointed to the center stage. "That's where Arlentech will present. Security will be tight." Mr. Voss's face was hard and sharp. "I don't care how tight it is," he said. "I want that device destroyed before it's shown to the public." "What about the boy?" the assistant asked. Mr. Voss narrowed his eyes. "If he stands in the way, remove him." 2 nights before the expo, Tom received a strange message on his tablet. It came from an unknown source. It read, "Your father is alive. Meet me at Dock 17 at midnight. Come alone." Tom stared at the message, heart racing. Could it be true? He knew it could be a trap, but what if it wasn't? That night, without telling Myra, Tom took a small drone camera, hid the Helios blueprint in his jacket, and quietly left the tower. The city at night was quiet, filled with orange lights and soft wind. He reached Dock 17, an old shipping area by the river. It was empty except for a tall figure in a coat. "Tom," the figure said in a low voice. "Who are you?" Tom asked. The figure stepped closer. It was a man in his late 40s, with tired eyes and rough hands. "My name is Leo," the man said. "I'm your father." Tom froze. He wanted to believe, but something felt wrong. "If you're really my father," Tom said slowly, "tell me the name of my robot dog from when I was 6. The man smiled slightly. "You called him Spark. He was made from 2 broken fans and a toaster." Tom gasped. "It really is you." Leo stepped forward, hugging his son tightly. "I've missed you so much, but what happened?" Tom asked. "Why did you disappear?" Leo's face grew dark. "NovaCorp found out about my work. They tried to take it. I refused. So they faked the explosion and kept me locked away in one of their secret labs. I escaped just 2 weeks ago." Tom's heart pounded. "You have to come back. We're about to show Helios to the world." Leo looked serious. "That's why they'll do anything to stop you. You're the last link to the truth." Suddenly, lights flashed nearby. Black drones flew out of the dark and circled the dock. NovaCorp agents stepped out from shadows, their boots loud on the metal ground. "It's a trap!" Leo shouted. Tom grabbed his drone camera and ran. Leo fought off 2 agents with a metal rod, giving Tom a few seconds to escape. "Go, Tom!" Leo yelled. "Show them the truth." Tom ran through the dockyard, climbed over a wall, and jumped into a passing tram. His heart was beating like a drum. Back at Arlentech, Myra was waiting with worried eyes. "Where were you?" she asked as Tom entered the lab, breathing hard. "I got a message," he said. "I met my father. He's alive, Myra. He escaped NovaCorp. But they found us. He helped me get away." Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "I believe you. We'll find him. But first, we must finish what he started." Tom nodded. "Then let's get ready." The next day, the World Science Expo began. It was the biggest event of the year. Thousands of people from all around the world filled the massive glass dome. Scientists, inventors, media, and business leaders all watched from bright seats. Security drones flew overhead. On the main stage stood Myra and Tom. Behind them, the Helios core rested under a silver cover. Tom looked around. Somewhere in the crowd, NovaCorp agents were likely watching, but he felt no fear. Myra stepped forward and spoke to the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, today you will witness something new. Not just a machine, but a path to a better future." She turned to Tom. Go ahead. Tom stepped to the mic, his voice steady. My name is Tom. I used to be a poor boy from the lower zone. My father built a machine to bring clean energy to the world, but some people tried to bury his work. Today we bring it back. He lifted the cover. The crowd gasped. The Helios core glowed softly, shining with gentle blue light. Tom pressed a button. A nearby light tower lit up, powered only by the core. Then, a water pump started running, fans spun. A screen showed that no outside power was used, only the small machine on stage. People stood and clapped. Some even cheered. But suddenly, the screen blinked. Security breach. It said. Tom turned to Myra. They're trying to hack the core. Talia's voice came through an earpiece. It's NovaCorp. They're in the system. Tom ran to the back and pulled open the core's panel. The backup shield kicked in, but just in time. The hacking attempt failed. The machine stayed safe. Myra stepped forward. This is proof. Helios works. And we will make it open source, free for the world. The crowd roared. Across the dome, Mr. Vos sat in silence. His plan failed. He stood and walked out quietly. Later that night, Tom sat on the same bridge where he had first met Myra. Beside him, she smiled. Your life has changed, Tom. Tom nodded. It has, but I still want to help people. I want Helios to power homes like mine, places that no one cared about. You will, Myra said. And we'll find your father. Together, the wind blew softly. The city lights sparkled. And the boy who once fixed a flat tire had just fixed the future. The world had changed. After the World Science Expo, the name Tom became known in every country. News reports called him the boy genius from the lower zone, and his invention, the Helios core, was called the key to clean, free energy. But Tom didn't care about fame. What mattered to him was that people, especially the poor, were finally being seen and heard. In just a few weeks, copies of the Helios core were built across the world. Villages in dry lands got clean water from powered pumps. Poor city zones lit up at night for the first time. Schools that had no electricity began using computers and learning devices, all powered by Helios. And just like Myra promised, she made the design open source. Anyone with the right parts and tools could build it, without paying any big company. But NovaCorp wasn't finished. Though they had failed at the expo, they were still powerful. Now, they were planning something bigger, something more dangerous. One morning, while Tom was helping set up a Helios system in a lower zone school, he received an emergency message from Talia. Come to the tower, now. It's about your father. Tom dropped his tools and rushed to Arlen Tech Tower. When he entered the main lab, Myra, Talia, and Amar were waiting. On the screen was a shaky video, taken from a drone camera. It showed a secret lab, hidden deep underground. A dark room with machines and guards, and standing there, Leo, Tom's father. He's alive, Tom whispered. Where is this place? We tracked a NovaCorp signal, Talia said. They're holding him in an old mining facility outside the city. He's working under pressure force to build a fake version of the Helios core. Tom clenched his fists. We have to save him, Myra nodded. I've already sent a rescue team to scout the area. But they need someone who knows the real design to make sure the tech doesn't fall into NovaCorp's hands. Tom looked at her. I'll go. Myra paused. It's dangerous. He's my father, Tom said. And I know his work better than anyone. That night, under cover of darkness, a small stealth ship flew over the desert, carrying Tom, Amar, and 2 drone units. They landed quietly near the old mine. From a cliff, they saw the facility guards with weapons, walls lined with electric fences, and a tall tower blinking red. Amar handed Tom a headset. We move fast. Once we're in, find your father and the fake core. We shut it down and we get out. Tom nodded. Using smoke drones and silent boots, the team entered the facility. Amar led the way, disabling guards quietly. Tom followed, his heart racing. Finally, they reached a metal door. Behind it was a lab. Inside, Tom saw his father, Leo, sitting at a workbench, looking tired but focused. "Dad," Tom whispered. Leo turned. His eyes widened. "Tom." Before they could speak, alarms blared. NovaCorp had seen them. Guards stormed in from both sides. "Get behind me," Amar shouted, using the stun shield to block shots. Tom grabbed his father's hand. "We're here to get you out," Leo nodded, weak but ready. "There's a fake core in the next room. If NovaCorp finishes it, they'll use it to take control again." Tom ran to the side room. The fake core looked almost the same, but it lacked the safety shield. If used, it could explode. "We can't let them keep this," Tom said. Leo pulled out a tool from his coat. "Let's disable it." Working side by side, father and son shut down the machine. Just before the guards burst in, they triggered the lab's self-destroy program and escaped through a side tunnel. Back in the ship, safe above the clouds, Tom looked at his father. "I thought I'd lost you forever," he said. Leo smiled weakly. "And I thought I'd never see what you've become. I'm proud of you, Tom." They hugged tightly as the ship flew back toward the city. A week later, Mira called a press meeting. Standing beside Tom and Leo, she announced the final end of NovaCorp's control. The company's leadership was exposed and arrested for crimes. Their labs were shut down, and their stolen tech was returned. The world had a new hero, now not a businessman in the tower, but a boy from the streets who used kindness and knowledge to lift everyone higher. Tom, however, didn't want to stay in the spotlight. He returned to the lower zone, where he started building small Helios units for schools, hospitals, and homes. He also started a free tech school, where kids like him could learn engineering and robotics without needing money. He named it Leo Academy in honor of his father. One evening, as the orange sun dipped behind the tall towers, Tom stood on the same sky bridge where everything had begun. The wind was soft and traffic lights blinked below. A young boy nearby was struggling with a broken hoverboard. Tom walked over and smiled. "Need help?" he asked. The boy looked up and nodded. Tom knelt down and fixed the wire in seconds. "You're really good at this," the boy said. Tom smiled. "I used to fix a lot of things when I was your age." The boy rode off happily, and Tom stayed on the bridge for a moment longer, remembering the rainy night when he had helped a woman with a flat tire. That small choice had changed his whole life. Years later, the world was different. Clean energy flowed through every street. No child studied in the dark. No family went hungry because they couldn't afford power. And people remembered the story of a boy who didn't walk past a stranger in need and instead changed the future.